Here's a look at my Amur maple. I have a few. This one I call curly. You can probably see why, because the trunk curls around. It's got some great fall color right now. But in this video, I'll show you the history and how we got here. So going way back to April of 2019, they started as seedlings. I seem really excited. I'm not sure what I was saying there. I just slip potted them into a bigger pot that day. And I think they were actually a year old. So they actually started in 2017. Or 18, that is. That's how they ended up. Here it is the following fall, October of 19. So still just a young seedling at this point. These Amur maples really kind of remind me a lot of a trident maple. The leaves, at least, and really even the growth patterns. They have great fall color. Relatively fast growers. They do have a few quirky growth habits that I'll show you and talk about a little bit. Here it is in May of 2020. It's grown out quite a bit. Nice and healthy. These grow from seeds really easily. I just saw a Amur maple tree outside of my gym and it had a bunch of seeds on it, and I grabbed a couple handfuls, and that's what I've been growing from ever since. So if you ever see an Amur maple tree, it's probably got seeds on it. If you just throw it in a pot in the fall, put it outside and let nature do its trick, good chance it will sprout trees in the spring. Here it is the following year, April of 21. This is just a short clip just to kind of show you the progression here, but this was taken from an older video I posted where I repotted one of them. Fast forward now a couple of years, June of 23. At some point I had wired the trunk to get that curl like that. I didn't get a video clip of that wiring, but you can see the result of it. Some of the growing quirks from this are the timing of trimming it. Here it is in March of 24. And I haven't exactly mastered the timing yet, but I know that there is a trick with the timing. Here's the next month. It's growing out a lot, or it's about to at least. Fast forward then another month in May. And at this point, I decided to slip pot it yet again because it was too late. Looks like it had a broken branch there. Not sure how that happened. But it's too late to do any root pruning, and it seems to me, albeit too late, that it kind of outgrew this pot. So I just slip potted it into a bigger pot. And I'm going to try to straighten it up a little bit. I don't mean straighten it out. I still like the curve of the trunk, but I think it was leaning back too much. So I'm going to take this opportunity to kind of lean it a little more upright. So it's a gradual curve and not like a leaning back and curving. So I didn't trim any roots at all. Just took it out of the old pot, loosened up the root ball, put it in this new pot, new soil. And there it is. Gave it a good rinse after that. So I kind of like how it looks even better now, that it's a little more upright and curving around. It's less dramatic, more subtle. But back to the timing, I haven't exactly mastered the timing of pruning it yet. If you do it a little too late or too early, for some reason, these Amur maples, and they've all done this to me, every one I've ever had, they just sort of stop growing for the rest of the year. They don't die or anything like that. They just stay the way they are for the rest of the year. But if you time it just right, they bounce back big time. And this particular year, I managed to time it right. Only wish I could remember the exact timing or what the factors were. But anyways, one last look at it on this day. I know these Amur maples are native to Eastern Asia, like China and Korea, Japan. Here it is in June, so about a month after slip potting it, and you can already see new growth. Look at that. These are cold hardy too, by the way. I leave them outside all year. No protection or anything. So it's looking good. Here it is the following month in July. And look at that. It has gone crazy. So probably a combination of timing the pruning right and slip potting it, giving those roots some room to grow. Back budding has never been an issue with these Amur maples on any of them that I've had. If anything, they back bud too much. So there it is after I pruned it up. Pruned it up a lot too. I probably trimmed 80% of the foliage. Here it is the following month after that, and it's already grown out yet again. When I say they back bud maybe a little too much, I'm kind of half being cheeky and half not. Back budding is always good. It's hard to have too much. But they do tend to back bud in a lot of the little elbows of branches, so you'll get 5 branches coming out of one spot sometimes. Here it is in early October, and you can start to see the color. That's another fun fact about these, is that they have awesome fall color. They pretty much always have, all of the Amur maples that I've had. And I know I'm only focusing on one of them in this video, but that's a common trait that I've seen in all of them. Here it is in late October. I'm kind of bunching them all together and putting them on the ground for the winter. And look at that. I posted a YouTube short, so the format's a little different there. It's a little narrower, but look at how bright red some of those leaves are. Just spectacular. And then fall did its thing. Then winter does its thing. And then late winter, early spring, in February of 25, decided to give it a little trim and get it structurally pruned and ready. Also, it's good to just get a look at it without its leaves, so you can get a much clearer view. See what I mean about branches coming out of everywhere? There's like 4 or 5 branches maybe coming out of one spot. A little hard to tell, but that'll happen, and it'll happen quick. And once they bush out like it was a few minutes ago in an earlier clip, it's really hard to even catch it sometimes. Here it is after trimming it up. This tree has a long way to go for sure. I am going to pot it into a bonsai pot this coming spring, in spring of 26. But it's got a long way to go. And I'm not 100% sure yet what the final design might look like. But I like the curved trunk. I like the way it's going, put it like that. I might lose that very bottom branch there, the one on the left, right above that cut wound. That's just glue, by the way, non-toxic glue I use for cut paste. I do have actual cut paste, but it kind of turns different colors. It turns black for some reason. I don't really like it, so I just use glue. Fast forward a few months to May of 25, and it's bushed out quite a bit. It was this time the previous year that I trimmed it up and I slip potted it. And then it took off. I'm kind of hoping for a same or similar result. So I trimmed it up. Here it is in June, the following month. Looks pretty healthy. But make mental note of how it looks right here. Because for whatever reason, I got the timing a little off and it didn't really change. Growth-wise, that is. Here's a closer look here. So at this point, let's see, if it started as a seed in 2018, so it's about 7 years old now. 6 or 7 years or something like that. My eventual hope for this tree is that I'll get that trunk thickened up and get some taper. I'll have to do a trunk chop a couple times throughout the years to get some good taper, but I would like to maintain that same height and structure, really. But, you know, doing a trunk chop means you're kind of resetting, so I'll lose it at some point. Here it is in July, so about a month later. Still looks healthy, but it's not really a ton of new growth. Well, there's some, I guess. I brought it inside. So I take it back. I guess there was some new growth. Maybe it was after this that it stopped. I guess we'll find out in a second. You can see the difference between the old leaves and the new leaves. The old leaves inside there are that darker green, kind of papery looking. The newer ones are a little brighter. So I trimmed it up. It's easy to do clip and grow style on these trees, because they have really short internodes and they back bud so easily. Not a ton of wiring is really necessary. Occasionally. I mean, I wired it to get the trunk like this. So there it is after I was done pruning it up. Pretty happy with how that looks right there. I'm trying to envision this in a bonsai pot, and which bonsai pot to use. I'm feeling like an oval shaped pot would be best for some reason. I think maples generally look better in rounder pots rather than squared or rectangle. I don't know if that's just in my mind or what. It kind of seems like it. It's got a good canopy. I will say too, these like full sun until about midsummer, and then they enjoy a little bit of afternoon shade if possible. Here it is the following month. Let's take a look. Yeah, so I guess this was the point where it kind of didn't grow again. Still healthy though, still looking good. Just not quite as vigorous as the year before. I don't know for sure if it's from the timing that I did to trim or just whatever, I don't know. But Amur maples have always been a little on the finicky side when it comes to trimming, for me at least. Maybe it's just my region, I don't know. I will say I see these as clump style a lot, even in nature. Here it is the following month, again, September, and kind of the same story. Didn't really grow, just kind of hanging out for the rest of the year. I do have the beginnings of a clump style going, which really was just a handful of seeds in a little pot, and it will turn into a clump style. But I'm kind of thinking anytime you see a lot of clump style trees, it's usually a good indication that they grow easily from seed, because it's just a handful of seeds that just all grew up in a little clump. And I'm talking about in nature more than in bonsai. Bonsai, you can do all kinds of things. You know, we're doing it artificially, you could say. But when you see those clump style trees or in nature, it means they grow easily from seed. So it hasn't turned colors yet. We're still at the end of summer, heading into the beginning of fall. But I love the potential. I love where it's going. Here it is in early October, and now you can start to see some of those colors just starting. I also think part of the issue with it not growing much the later half of this year was it was in a little too much full sun, and I think the sprinklers were a little too direct on it, and it got overwatered. Here it is in mid-October. So this is as of about a week or two ago. Got those spots, which kind of indicates maybe too much water. Not sure. Not too worried about it though. But I like where it's going. I like Amur maple trees in general. They're just a cool species to have in your collection because of the color and the style. They lend themselves to bonsai really well. They're vigorous growers for the most part, as long as you don't time it wrong with the trimmings. And they're just super pretty. So there it is. There's all my other trees going to sleep. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.